Hello, learners and viewers. Welcome to this session. Myself, Dr. G. Uma. I am the program coordinator for the Master's Program in Gender and Development Studies. Many of you have continuously writing to us how to choose the research topic. That is, you all know that you have joined the Master's Program in Gender and Development Studies. As part of this program, you need to submit one research project in the first year, that is MGSP-001, and as well as you need to submit another research project in the second year. Thus, you need to do two research projects. These two research projects are 4 credits worth. Thus, you need to follow the proper procedures from selecting the research topic till the submission of the project. It needs to be done in a scientific manner. And many of you has continuously writing to us how to choose the research topic. That is the first question all of you asking during the interaction, as well as many. I am continuously receiving mail from our learners regarding the choosing of the research topic as well as how to prepare a research proposal. Even though we have provided detailed manual to prepare a research proposal, still you have sent lots of queries regarding the preparation of research proposal. This session is specifically we have designed to explain the importance of choosing the research topic as well as what are the steps in preparing the research proposal. Welcome to this session. This session specifically we will discuss the importance of choosing the topic for doing the research for the course MGSP-001 as well as MGSP-002. Then you all must be having a various general interest regarding your research. For example, suddenly one incident happened in the society. You must be thinking that why it is happening, what is the reason for happening like this, and you would like to do the research to find the appropriate answer to the particular incident. But sometimes your general interest you may certainly convert those general interest into specific research problem. Let us see how to convert your general interest into specific research problem. For example, all of us daily experiences, or we read in the newspaper in the morning, or we watch in the television various issues related to gender and development studies. You must be wondering how to to find an answer to that specific issues, whether it's a violence against women or taking appropriate decisions to pursue studies or access to health facilities, or even if you face in a private space any discrimination between male and female, you must be thinking that why it is happening. Is it happening only in a particular private space, or every family this patriarchy is operating in a different manner? Even if you go for an interview, or if someone is traveling in a public transport, you may see or you may face certain kinds of discrimination against women. Suddenly you think that, is it a researchable topic? Shall I do research in these specific issues? Will I able to find an answer to that issue? All these questions certainly come to your mind. Let us discuss all those questions in this session. Specifically, we will examine the criteria for selecting research topic. That is the first thing we will find out. Second one is that this session will explain the significance of formulating research questions. Third significant issue today we are going to discuss is the analyze the factors affecting the research topic in research, and finally let us see the list of significant issues in selecting the research topic. These are the 4 significant objectives today we are going to learn. For example, as I have mentioned, there are broad areas you can identify. For example, violence against women. Suddenly, only violence against women, it's a broad topic. Or you could able to say that it's a governance issues. For example, governance may be at the national level or regional level. Even as per Indian constitutions, we got a women got 50% reservation at the panchayat level. So you may identify the broad topics like a governance. Within that broad topic may interest you to do the research. Within that broad topic, how to narrow down, that is the first thing you need to do that. Or else when you read newspaper or some magazines or something, when you read, suddenly some area may interest you since you are pursuing masters in gender and development studies. So from that broad area, how to narrow down and how to make those broad areas into narrow manageable research problem. For example, I could give you one example. Everybody, all of us are these days we are discussing about climate change. Okay, suddenly the question comes to your mind, why is climate change is happening today? Certainly it will come. Scientifically you want to find an answer. Is the climate change affect male and female differently? Whether there is a climate change. For example, these days even one could able to see that there are so much of seasonal changes. Rainy season is extending. As well as, for example, during the rainy season, sometimes we don't get rain. Sometimes even during winter periods, we may not experience that much heavy winter. There are so much of changes. Suddenly cloud burst. Many cities experiencing heavy rain due to cloud burst. All of those scientifically, scientists, they are explaining why it is happening and what is the reason for climate change. As a student of gender and development studies, immediately next question come to your mind, is it this climate change affects male and female differently? So how will you find out that answer? So, next one is that we are keep on destroying the forest. What happens if the forests are destroyed continuously? Okay, is the women, are they getting more benefit from the forest, or only male members are getting benefit from the forest? Forest, is it only for the macroeconomic activities, or like the women, they can access to forest, collect the minor forest produce? Will they able to economically benefit? Will that forest produce, will it sustain them economically, as well as will it address the livelihood issues? These are the some of the questions come to your mind. Then how does environment affect human relationships? So these are the examples I have given to you. So from the broad topic, climate change is the broad topic, broad issues. Every one of us, we are talking about after looking at the erratic, we are facing like an unseasonal rain and many unseasonal things we are facing it. After this, all of us, even common man, they are discussing about the climate change issues. From this broad area of interest, suppose if some of you may interest in environmental issues, gender and environment. Some of you may interest to work on governance. Some of you may interest on entrepreneurship. Next good example I could able to give you is that entrepreneurship. Like there are like how to become an entrepreneurship. If the women want to become an entrepreneurship, will they able to succeed? Because every social institutions we are teaching you about patriarchy. Every social institutions, they act in a patriarchal manner in certain way. For example, women, if they don't have enough financial resources and other resources, how will they able to succeed as an entrepreneur? These are the some of the, to find the reason for the women to succeed in entrepreneurship, you may would like to do some research. These are in this way only, even if you are interested in entrepreneurship, within that broad topic, you have to narrow it down. How to, like within that broad area of research, like which topic would you like to do the research? How will you problematize in that particular topic. That is very important. That's why I have explained from topic to research questions. First you have to find out your interest area. What is your broad interest area? From your broad interest area, next is that from your interest you need to narrow down your area of interest. Second, okay, once you narrow down your interest area, narrow to manageable research problem, next significant things you have to do as far as research is concerned is that you have to develop a research questions. That's why from topic to research question, this is the first process when you start doing the research. Next one is what is the purpose of doing the research? Whether your research is exploratory, that is just to curiosity driven, to explore certain topics, or whether it's a descriptive, why it is happening, what is the problem, where is it happening, when is it happening, or explanatory, why and how you can explain based on your research. Next one is applied, deductive, testing hypothesis, or policy oriented. These are the various purpose of research. Based on your topic, you could able to narrow down what is your purpose of your research. Next one is that what is the role of research questions? In the beginning itself, in the beginning of the lecture itself, I have talked about the importance of research questions. Like when you talk about the research questions certainly guide the literature review. Literature review is the very significant aspects as far as research is concerned. Why do you want to do research literature review is that, like first you have narrowed down the topic, you could able to problematize your topic, then you have developed the research question. When you go and do the literature review, then you will come to know that how many research already has happened in that particular area of research. For example, if it's a governance, or gender and environment, or gender and entrepreneurship. So when you go and search the material, literature related to your topic, then you come to know that in which aspects already the research has done in a particular topic. That is the first thing. Second one is that research question will certainly guide you how to do the literature review. Specifically literature review, we insist our scholars, our masters learners to do the literature review to know that whether already the research has been carried out in that particular topic. If so, what is the objective of doing that earlier research, what is the research question, all those things you need to go through, and in which way your research will add knowledge to the existing research, or existing research, or existing knowledge in that particular area. For example, if it's gender and entrepreneurship, there must be thousands and thousands of research already available related to gender and entrepreneurship. In which way, if you do that research in that particular topic, how will you add more resources, knowledge to the existing knowledge? That is the first question we ask them to answer. So when you do the literature review, how your topic, not only your topic, your objectives, your research question, how it is differ from the existing research, what is the gap in the existing research, how will you fill those gaps? That will, when you ask these type of questions, when you do the literature review, certainly it will guide you. So first role of research question is that, first one is that it will guide a literature review. Then it will help you to decide what kind of data you need to collect it. Then third significant aspects you could learn from literature review is that it will shape analysis. And next significant aspects the literature review will help you is will help you to structure your research report, how to write your research report. And when you keep on doing literature review, that will help you to focus your research. That's what I have in the beginning itself I told you. Like, you are not the first person to work on that particular area of research. There must be many research already have carried out by various researchers as well as master's level students in that particular area. So when you do the literature review, you come to know that what are the gaps in the existing research and how will you bridge those gaps. Based on that gaps, you could able to build your research problem, and you can develop the research questions, and you could able to develop the research objectives. Then you can carry it out. So your research will add knowledge to the existing knowledge. That is the main reason we asked our learners to do the literature review. So when you have a research questions, proper research question, certainly it will guide a literature review. It decide what data to collect. It will shape the analysis. It will structure research report, and you could able to keep focus on your research. And you next significant points I would like to share with you all is that criteria for good research questions. What are the criteria? We need to keep in mind when you develop the research question? First criteria, all of us we have to keep in mind is that research question should be clear, simple, it should be researchable. That is the first thing we need to keep in mind. Second one is that you have to write your own research questions. You should not take from some other source. It should be original and it should be relevant to the research problem, relevant to the topic. Okay, that is the second significant points one must remember. Third significant points you have to remember is that neither it should be too narrow nor too broad. So it should be appropriate. The research question should be it should be in a proper manner. It should not be too narrow and it should not be too broad. Next insignificant point you must remember when you design the research question is that it should be linked to theory and the existing research. And once you finalize your research question, from this research questions you are supposed to develop your objectives and hypothesis. So research questions always we have to design the research question that should be convertible into objectives and hypothesis. And if you have 3 or 4 research questions, those research questions should be interrelated. For example, first question between first and second question, and second and third question, from third to fourth question, all 4 questions, if you have, it is up to the researcher to have a n number of questions. Like, you can decide with your supervisor and you can develop your own research questions. It is not about how many number of research questions you are having. That is not an issue. The issue is that whether you have 2 research questions or whether you have 4 research questions, those questions should be interrelated. These are the points when you develop the research questions you need to keep in mind. And how to conceptualize the topic. Next significant aspects when you need to know is that how to conceptualize topic. First significant points you need to remember when you conceptualize the topic is that identify appropriate concepts. For example, I told you governance. It's a broad area of research. So within environment, it's a broad area of research. Within that, which area you would like to work on it? Which topic would you like to work on it? Once you have, when you conceptualize the topic, you need to find out you appropriate concepts to finalize the research topic, and you need to define the variables. For example, if you work on climate change and gender, it is important to define what is climate change. Either you can take the definition from the existing definition, or you yourself can define what is climate change. As like gender also, all of you already know what is gender. So either you can, in your own words, you can define the gender, or many of the existing feminist scholars, they have already defined what is gender. So it's up to you, up to the researcher can choose. Either they can choose the existing definition. You think that if that existing definition is appropriate for your research, then you can choose the existing definition. You can properly give the citation for the existing definition, and you can use in your research, or you yourself can define the existing concepts, as well as you can define the various variables related to a research. And then you have to explore relationship among variables, and you need to determine where will you get the data for your research. These are the significant points one has to remember when you conceptualize the topic. Next one is that we all know there are two logics. One is the deductive versus inductive logic. Deduction, when you talk about the deduction, first you need to choose the theory. From theory it comes to hypothesis and data. It's a logic driven. When it comes to inductive logic, the first data, the patterns, theory, and observation driven. For example, climate change, related to climate change study can be deductively versus observed inductively. This is what I would like to say. That next significant points you have to remember when you choose the topic and when you decided to develop a proposal is that what are the factors affecting topic selection. One is that advancing knowledge. So that's why we always tell our learners, when we have a discussion with them, please go through all the first year courses. Once you go through once you receive the material, please go through all the first year courses. Once you go through all the first year courses, you may get an idea that which area interests to you. If, for example, there are two significant aspects significant aspects one need to know when they choose the research topic. First one is that personal interest. Like master's program, the master's program dissertation is for limited period. Okay, for example, as far as masters in gender and development studies are concerned, first year they have to do research for 4 credit course, as well as second year they need to do one more research for 4 credit course. It's like 120 study hours they could easily complete within that particular period. Suppose if someone is interested to pursue their research after their master's program, it is the research is for longer period of time. It's more than 4 years. They need to do the research, minimum 3 years for PhD, and maximum period also one can do the research. So the period is they have to pursue the research for longer period. If when they do research for longer period of time, certainly they have to keep their interest in that particular topic. Thus, always we advise our learners to choose the topic which is interest to them. Then only they could able to sustain their interest till they complete that particular research. That is the first aspects one need to keep in mind when they choose the topic. Second one is that advancing knowledge. Once they choose the topic, certainly the researchers, they keep on start reading that particular area. So they specialize more and more in that particular area. Thus they could able to advance their knowledge in that particular area. Next significant aspects one need to keep in mind while choosing the topic selection is that societal relevance and human problems. For example, in this 21st century, what are the problems the entire society, not only in Asian countries, throughout the world, everybody is facing. One is the climate change. Second one is that significant aspects everybody is facing is that we are living in an era of digital era. So from child, elders, everybody is using the certain kinds of digital instruments. So everybody, they hooked up in that particular instrument. So sometimes because of this digital instruments, the existing studies clearly pointed out that it is affecting the existing human relationship, specifically gender relations, as well as there is a gap in accessing digital instruments due to rural, urban, literate, semi-literate or educated. Various aspects are affecting the accessing these digital instruments. That is the another significant aspects we need to study further and further in the 21st century. Third significant aspects is that how the education will shape over a period of time. There are how this information, like there are lots of informations available through these digital tools. Due to the existing available informations, how can we choose the information which is relevant to our study? These are some of the issues we need to study in the 21st century. Thus, I have elaborately explained about the personal interest and motivation, availability of funds and resources when it comes to PhD program, and international focus. These are some of the points our learners need to keep in mind while selecting the topic. I hope you could able to understand the today's lecture to choose the topic for your research in the master's program. If you have any further queries related to this topic, please write to us. I hope all of you know our email ID. When you write about this topic, like if we want to explain further regarding this topic, certainly we can have one more session related to this topic. Thank you so much for listening this. Thank you.